My name is Isabella Romero. I am 32 years old, and I am the CEO of one of the most successful investment companies in the city. But 15 years ago, I was just one scared teenager sleeping in the bus station, with barely a few dollars in my pocket. The people who know me now, executives, investors, employees, all see the suit, the designer watch, the office on the 40th floor with a city view. What they don't see are the scars that I hide, not on my skin, but in my heart. It all began when I was 17 years old. I lived with my parents, Carlos and Maria Romero, in a middle-class neighborhood. My father worked as a manager in a local company, and my mother was a teacher. We were not rich, but we didn't lack anything either. Or so I thought. Isabella has potential, my friends said. Teachers should apply to the best universities. And I did. I studied day and night. I participated in every extracurricular activity possible. I wrote essays until my fingers hurt. When the acceptance letters arrived, I cried tears of happiness. Harvard, Stanford, all of them loved me. But there was a problem: money. We can't pay for those universities, said my father one night during dinner. You will go to a local university, like everyone else. But I got a scholarship at Harvard. I protested. We need to cover the costs of housing and books, my mother said, staying silent as always. Then my father made a decision. He hit the table with his fist. I have said no, he snapped. A woman doesn't need such an expensive education. You will get married, you will have children. Local university is more than enough. That night, I listened to my parents argue in their room. It is a unique opportunity, my mother said. We could mortgage the house. No, my father interrupted. Money is for the business I want to start. I'm not going to waste it on your whims. I didn't know it then, but my father had been saving for years to open his own company. My education was an obstacle in his way. The situation got worse when I found the documents, the bank cards hidden in his desk. They had more than 100,000 pesos saved, more than enough to help me with college. When I confronted my father, his face transformed in a way that I will never forget. You are using my things, he shouted. This money is for the future of the family, and my future is not part of the family. I asked through tears. What happened next is engraved in my memory, like a nightmare in slow motion. My father packed my things into 2 suitcases. My mother was crying silently in a corner. You're so smart, so special, so Harvard-worthy, he spat out. Then you can make your life alone. Don't worry about us. We need you here. But I'm your daughter. I whispered. We don't have a daughter, he answered coldly. Daughters obey their fathers. He pushed me out of the house with my suitcases. The last image I have is of my mother at the window, silent, tears running down her cheeks. There was nothing to stop it. I spent 3 nights in the bus station. A friend from school finally let me stay at his house until graduation. His parents were kind, but I could see the pity in their eyes. The Harvard Financial Aid Office was understanding and helped me get loans to cover all my expenses. I worked 3 different jobs during university, in the library, in a cafeteria, and as a tutor. Each penny counted. It wasn't easy. There were nights when I cried until I fell asleep, wondering how my own parents could have abandoned me. But every tear, every moment of doubt, every sleepless night only made me stronger. I graduated summa cum laude. The work offers arrived quickly. I chose a position at a prestigious investment firm. I worked harder than anyone else. First in, last out. In 5 years, I was the youngest investment director in the history of the company. And now, 15 years after that night when I was kicked out of home, I'm the CEO of my own investment firm, Capital. We manage funds for more than $1,000 million. I never got back in contact with my parents. I changed my legal surname to Morrison, my maternal grandmother's maiden name. Isabella Morrison sounded more professional, stronger, and helped me forget, or so I thought, until this morning. Miss Morrison, my assistant said over the intercom. There's a couple requesting an urgent meeting. Mr. and Mrs. Romero say it's about an important investment. My world stopped. 15 years of buried memories suddenly emerged. Do you have an appointment? I asked, keeping my voice firm. No, but they insist that it's urgent. Something about saving your family's company. I looked out my office window at the city, which was now my home. 15 years building my life, my career, my strength. Make them pass, I said. It was finally time for the daughter who was abandoned to meet her parents who had rejected her. But this time, I had the power, and they had no idea who I was now. My assistant showed them in. 15 years can change a lot of people, and my parents were not the exception. My father, formerly proud and dominant, seemed smaller, with completely gray hair. My mother, who once was beautiful and elegant, now looked haggard and nervous. They didn't recognize me. "Miss Morrison," began my father, his voice trembling slightly. "We appreciate that you received us without an appointment." "Please, take a seat," I replied, maintaining my professional voice and distance. "How can I help you?" They sat in front of my desk, looking uncomfortable in their worn but formal clothes. My mother kept playing with her bag, a nervous habit I remembered from my childhood. "We own Romero Enterprises," my father explained. "A construction company we've been operating for 14 years. 14 years? I interrupted. "Right after you kicked your daughter out of the house?" They froze. My mother dropped her bag. How do you know that?" my father whispered. I slowly stood up, circling my desk. "I know many things, Mr. Romero. I know that you used the family savings to start your business instead of supporting education. I know from your daughter that she chose her ambition over her future." My mother started to shake. "Who is it?" she asked. I took my ID from the desk and I gave it to Isabella Morrison, formerly known as Isabella Romero, the daughter they abandoned for 100,000 pesos. The silence that followed was deafening. My father turned pale, while my mother started to cry silently. "Beautiful," whispered my mother, using the diminutive that I had not heard in 15 years. "My beautiful Isabella." I firmly corrected her, "Isabella Morrison, CEO of Capital." My father tried to recover his composure. "Daughter, I can't believe this. This must be destiny." "Destiny?" I laughed without humor. "No, Mr. Romero. This is irony. You came looking for money, didn't you?" He nodded slowly. "The company. Your company. Our family business is in trouble. We need a loan of $5 million to avoid bankruptcy." I asked, "The same company that denied me an education? A company that was worth more than its own daughter?" "We all made a mistake," my mother said. "These years you were looking for a lie," I interrupted them. "I did my research when I got to this position. They never looked for me. Not once did they try to contact me at Harvard or when I graduated. Even when I appeared in business magazines." My father sank in his chair. "Pride is true," I said. "My pride. And now you are here, because your precious company is failing. Because you need money, not because you wanted to find your daughter." I took a folder from my desk and opened it. Romero Enterprises, debts for $7 million, lost contracts, bad financial management, and risky investments. "How do you have that information?" my father asked. "I am the CEO of an investment firm, Mr. Romero. It's my job to know these things." I leaned forward. "Do you want to know better?" 3 months ago, one of my analysts suggested buying Romero Enterprises. It was on the verge of bankruptcy, but with proper management, it could be profitable. His eyes lit up with hope. I rejected the offer. I did it not out of resentment, but because the numbers didn't lie. "Your company is rotten from within, just like your values. Please," my mother begged. "We will lose everything. Like I lost everything." I asked softly, "How did I lose my home, my family, my security?" My father got up suddenly. "I am your father. You owe me respect. Sit." My voice cut the air like a whip. "You lost the right to be called my father 15 years ago. Now I am the CEO of Ascent Capital, and you are just another client." Desperate, he collapsed in his chair, defeated. "I will tell you what I am going to do," I said, returning to my chair. "I will offer you exactly the same thing you offered me 15 years ago, the beautiful door." "Please," my mother cried. But I continued. "Unlike you, I will give you an option. You can go out through that door and never come back, or you can stay and listen to my proposal to save your company, a proposal that will come with very specific conditions." They looked at each other. The weight of 15 years of wrong decisions was visible on their faces. "What conditions?" my father finally asked. I smiled, a smile that my employees knew well. The smile that preceded a ruthless negotiation. Before discussing the conditions, I said, I want you to understand something, I'm not doing this for you. I am doing this because, unlike you, I did learn the value of family. And because I want you to see exactly what you lost 15 years ago. I got up and walked to my office window, looking at the city that had been witness to my transformation. These are my conditions, I said without turning around. Capital will buy 75% of Romero Enterprises. The remaining 25% will be divided, 15% for a trust that will benefit low-income students, and you will keep 10%. Only 10%, I said. My father protested, more than what they left me. I continued, in addition, both of you will renounce your executive positions. You will be regular employees starting from the bottom. You will earn every promotion, just like I did. My mother nodded slowly, but my father seemed to struggle internally. And the most important condition, I added, is that you will use your salaries to pay for the college education of other students whose parents value money more than education. Why are you doing this? My mother gently asked. Because someone has to break the cycle, I responded. Because every Isabella who manages to get ahead, there are hundreds who don't. I handed over the contracts that I had prepared that morning, anticipating that this day would eventually come. You have an hour to decide, I said. I suggest you use it wisely. I left the office, leaving them alone with their decision. In the hallway, my assistant was waiting for me, concerned. Are you okay? He asked. He was the only person in the company I knew would be there for me. I will be, once I complete my story, I answered. An hour later, I returned to my office. My parents were sitting exactly where I had left them, the contract signed on my desk. We will do it, my father said, his voice breaking. Not because we need the money, but because I finally understand what we did wrong. My mother cried, tears running down her cheeks. I know we don't have the right to ask for your forgiveness, but... I'm not seeking your forgiveness, I interrupted. I am looking for change. Action. Results. The following months were intense. My parents started from basic positions in the company. My father worked in the maintenance department, and my mother worked at reception. Every day, they faced the consequences of their past arrogance. The educational trust began to work immediately. The first semester, we helped 10 students attend the universities of their dreams. Seeing their faces light up when receiving scholarships reminded me of myself 15 years ago, receiving my acceptance letter. Harvard. Romero Enterprises, under the management of Ascent Capital, began to transform. We implemented policies of gender equality, mentoring programs, and educational benefits for all employees. A year later, my father arrived at my office one afternoon. He had been promoted to maintenance supervisor on his own merit. Do you remember when you said you wanted us to see what we lost? He asked. I nodded. I see it all. The days continued, in each student we helped, in each employee who grew, in the incredible woman you became despite us. Thanks to us. For the first time in 15 years, I saw real humility in her eyes. My mother too changed and became the coordinator of the scholarship program, working tirelessly to identify promising students who needed support. One afternoon, while we reviewed the applications for the next semester, she looked at me with tears in her eyes. You know what is the most difficult thing, she said. Seeing in every one of these applications the girl we left behind, wondering how many dreams we have broken. Other parents, like we have. It wasn't an easy road to reconciliation. Some wounds are too deep to heal completely. But we found something different, a common purpose, a shared mission. Today, 5 years after that meeting in my office, Romero Enterprises is known not only for its financial success but for its social impact. We have helped more than 500 students achieve their educational dreams. My father no longer talks about money and power. Instead, he shares his story as a warning to other parents. My mother leads workshops for families about the importance of supporting the education of their children. Forgiveness is complicated. There are days when the 17-year-old girl inside me still cries at that bus station. But there are also days when the woman of 37 years sees something greater than forgiveness, transformation. Last week, during our annual scholarship gala, a young woman, a student, asked me how it all started. This started with a closed door, I said. But I learned that sometimes closed doors lead us to build entire buildings. I looked at my parents, now gray, but different, more humble, wiser, working with the new interns. And sometimes, I added, we build those buildings not for revenge, but to make sure that no one else has to sleep in a bus station, dreaming of an education. It's not a happy ending to a fairy tale story, it's something better. It's an ending that means something, that changes lives, that breaks cycles. And every time I sign a new scholarship, every time I see a student receive their acceptance letter, every time my parents guide a new family toward better decisions, I know it was all worth it. Because in the end, the best revenge is not personal success. It's making sure no one else has to take revenge.